My name is Danielle Jenkins, and I teach at Mountain View High School in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I have been teaching for about 20 years. I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. When I was younger, I thought I wanted to teach first grade because the idea of teaching young children to read was super exciting to me. So I always thought I would be a first grade teacher. But then when I was in high school, I took a careers in education class, and through that class, I was introduced to the wonderful world of special education, and I was completely hooked. I volunteered in a classroom with kids with various disabilities, and I fell in love with them. They showed more determination and grit and tenacity and perseverance, but also they loved unconditionally and they showed compassion and kindness towards other people. And their smiles and hugs just make me melt. They are the best. And I absolutely fell in love with special ed. And I knew for sure that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And now, even all these years later, and I have a classroom of my own, and I still feel exactly the same way. My students are my kids, and I love them, and they have brought immeasurable joy to my life. And I believe I have the greatest job on the planet. I am so blessed and so lucky to be able to work with these kids every day. And honestly, during this quarantine, it has even solidified that. I miss my kids. I miss being with them. Our Zoom calls just aren't quite cutting it for me. I want to be in the same room as them and hug them and laugh with them and learn with them. And I can't wait for that day to happen again. But they are my inspiration. They inspire me to be a better teacher, and they truly inspire me to be a better person. And they are what keeps me going. And I'm so, so, so thankful for them. I have been a fan of FIRST ever since my daughter signed up to be on an FLL team when she was in fourth grade. So we had 5 years of that. And honestly, I knew I was going to miss it when she aged out last year. But then last year, her team had the opportunity to travel to Worlds in Houston. And the entire time that we were there, I just kept getting this overwhelming feeling that I needed to do this with my kids. I needed to bring this back to my school and introduce FLL to my students. And I kept thinking, how am I going to make this work? But I knew that it was going to be great for them. I knew that the skills that they were going to learn from FLL were going to really take them places. And I knew FLL was going to enable me to introduce them to robotics and introduce them to higher level math that I never would have thought to introduce them to. But I also know it would help them with their speaking skills and their conversational skills and their reading skills to be able to research and learn about the topic. I knew they had core values down. I knew that they would excel in the core values portion. But the other components of FLL, I was really excited to bring to them and introduce them to this wonderful, wonderful world. And I believe that it really was a perfect fit for them. I think that they learned through it. I've watched their confidence soar. I've watched their pride and their accomplishments skyrocket. I've watched their relationships with one another become stronger. And really, I've just watched how they have been able to really shine in their abilities, because so many people look at my kids and fall in love with them. They know that they are joyful and happy and excited and love to learn, and they really are among some of the most popular kids at our school. But I think many people wouldn't quite think that they would be robotics champions, and that's exactly what they are. They are robotics champions, and they are trailblazers. They are changing the way the world sees disabilities and sees robotics education, and I just can't wait to see where this is going to go. I'm so proud of them, and they are so proud of themselves as well, and they really should be. But I really don't think they quite understand the reach that this has had, which to me makes it even more special. I would love to see FLL, FTC, and really even FRC incorporated into special education classrooms around the world. I really didn't know what to expect when I brought this to my classroom, but it's honestly been a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Of course, I do have a few things on my side. I have a few things going for me that made it easier. I have the best parapro in the world. She jumped right in with me and helps the kids through every aspect of all of this, and I couldn't have done it without her. But then I also have my FRC kids that were able to come in and help. And to me, that's been the most beautiful thing in all of this to me, because I watched my FRC kids who, when they first came into the room, they were a little bit timid and didn't quite know how to interact with my students. For some of them, it's the first time they've ever been around kids with intellectual disabilities, and so they weren't quite sure what their place was. So to watch those relationships blossom from that to where now they're like big brothers and big sisters and are my kids' biggest cheerleaders, to watch all of that happen and to watch those relationships flourish has been absolutely beautiful to watch. And I also think that just watching my kids, watching them excel in something that's really more academic based has been phenomenal. Watching their parents see their kids excel in something like this has been amazing. And then also just watching the way the world has interacted or has responded to them. They were in the newspaper, and our school system has 2 different news shows where they came out and followed the kids and featured them on the news shows. And my kids felt like absolute celebrities. So they're getting all of this attention, and they are showing that robotics education really can be and really should be open to anybody of any ability level, and that they can excel. They are robotics champions, which is a phenomenal thing for them. I can honestly say that I have been truly blessed my entire life with wonderful educators. I've been surrounded from the time I was very little up until even today. I am surrounded by phenomenal educators who are more than just an inspiration to me. I will talk a little bit about a very special teacher I had in elementary school. Her name is Mrs. LaFave, and she was a long-term sub when I was in 3rd grade when my teacher went off on maternity leave. But then when I was in 4th grade, Mrs. LaFave was hired as a full-time teacher, and I was one of the lucky ones that got to be in her class. And she was truly, even though I had really good teachers before her, she was the one that really showed us what true love looks like. And she made us all feel like she had hit the jackpot by being able to be our teacher. And she made us feel like, each one of us, she made us feel like we were the most important kid in the classroom. Or even sometimes she made us feel like we were the only kid in the classroom. And she had such a knack for getting us excited about learning, and even sometimes tricking us into learning when we thought we were just having fun, but really she was truly teaching us something. And she cared about us and never stopped caring about us, even after we moved on to the following grades. I mean, she would send me notes of encouragement or just sweet little thinking of you cards all the way through the rest of my years in that school. And I was in that school through 8th grade. And up until I left, she was sending sweet notes just to let me know that she still thought about me. And then just beyond that, I continued to have fabulous teachers, from Mrs. Cruz in high school, that was the one to introduce me to special ed. All of my daughter's teachers have inspired me. She's had teachers that inspired me even to become involved in FIRST. And then my colleagues that I work with every single day, they inspire me and make me want to be a better teacher. And especially during this time of this quarantine, I have never been prouder than now to be an educator. I feel like teachers are really showing up right now for our kids. We are showing our kids that we love them and that we care about them. And teachers across the entire globe right now are coming up with wonderful and innovative ways to be able to continue teaching and learning. And to me, that's more inspirational than anything else.